yes, it's been a long time since I've uploaded a video, but I was getting ready to make a wedding present for two friends of mine that are getting married during the eclipse. So I'm going to use some frisket film and a black canvas to make a painting with acrylic paints that looks like an eclipse. So it's really easy. You can do this at home. So keep watching and you'll see how easy it is. All right, the first thing I like to do with my canvas is tape the back of it. So let's do that. And once I've got that on, I'm going to like to press it down a little tight so there's no leaks. And then I'll trim off these little tabs. The next thing I like to do is I like to spray my canvas with a little bit of water. I'm not using a super expensive canvas, so there's going to be a little bit of give. What happens when you do the water is it will get into the cotton and it will help tighten it up a little bit. So let's let that dry a little bit while we put something to elevate the canvas while I'm working. Now I like to use push pins. Big ones you have to pound in, small ones you can just push in. And sometimes I will use these corner cone things, depending on what kind of project that I'm using. So any of these, or you can even just elevate it on something that you have at home that will keep it in one place. Now I also have an easel, but for today's I'm going to do this flat so you can see it. All right, and so with these in place, I can now turn this over and it's going to be elevated above my table. All right, so we'll wait for this to dry so that some of this waviness that I see is gone. And then next we're going to work with with my frisket film. So it's for stencils. I use it for airbrushing and things like that. So what I'm going to do next is I'll draw around this, cut out a circle, and we'll put that on our canvas. Okay, now that my canvas is mostly dry, I'm going to go ahead and peel back my frisket paper. So you put this on just kind of like you would put a phone screen. And you want to see where you want it on the canvas. I want mine definitely more toward the center. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then you just stick it down. And as you can see, it has some wrinkles in it, so you just work those wrinkles out. And it will give you a little nice edge. I might have to repair some of the edges because it doesn't stick too very tight, but it gives you a nice little stencil there. All right, and then I'm ready to go. So I've mixed up some of the deep violet with a little bit of black in it and some Mars black. And then again, I'm going to use the palette of vermilion, a soft body red Liquitex, a soft body purple, and Acrylic blue. And here we go. And because I'm not really concerned about what the black looks like right away, I'm going to use my goat hair mop brush that I have here, or chip brush. And this is, as you can see, kind of liquidy. So I'm doing the outside edges kind of like I do a paint pour. Okay, and so now I'm ready for the next steps. I'm going to start here at the bottom. I have shaken up my red. I'm going to just squirt some out on the canvas. You will see that this is just such an easy thing for you to do. Now you don't have to use as high a quality paints. You can use even just some of your paints that you have for your crafts. You could just use that. So red, orange. I'm going to put in my cerulean blue up at this side. Ooh, that might be a little too much. And my brilliant purple. As you can see, there's some brighter colors up against my black. And the easy part is now I'm going to just take my mop brush. So I have a #1 mop brush. You see it's kind of big, but that's all right. And the reason that I want this a little liquidy is because I do want these colors to just pop and blend. So essentially I'm just going to go like this and just make some beautiful clouds. And as you can see, they blend nicely. And then what I like to do is I like to do like a little background of them and then come back in and do another layer that's a lighter color. And sometimes when you're doing this, because your paint's liquid, you get little bubbles. My base layer is dry. I have a little shadow of purple and blue in the background, a little shadow of orange and red in the background, and I can still see where my frisket paper ends. I'm actually going to turn this around because I'm right-handed, and we're going to be working on this flash of color that goes here and a ring of paint that goes here from our Eclipse, and we're going to pretty much leave this alone. And we'll have our bright side over here. So I'm going to use this as my palette. Like I promised, I was going to show you easy way that you can do this at home. If you don't have a paint palette, you can just use a styrofoam plate. So I'm going to use a really bright orange, just a little dot of that. Won't need a lot. My regular orange, which is vermilion. And I'm going to start off with this, a little bit of this soft body, and it is Naphthol Crimson. Just a little bit. And we might go down to a bit of yellow. And for the flash that comes around the outside edge of the moon, we're going to mix a little bit of titanium white. And if you've ever whitened your teeth, a tiny bit of brilliant purple is going to actually make that white its whitest white it can be. Just, that's a little too much, but we'll not use all that. So let me pull a little bit of this aside and mix it. All right, as you remember, I used my mop brush to do all this. I do like to use my mop brush because it gives me a nice soft edge, but if you're working from home and you don't have a mop brush, you can use a regular paintbrush. It gives you that same edge, a little bit of a point on it, but it gives you that same edge. And you won't have to go out and buy that. All right. All right, so I'm going to touch a little tiny bit in the red. I'm going to pick up a good bit of the orange. We'll save this bright piece for in just a minute. And I'm just going to tap, 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 tap. And what I want is I want to bring us some flash all the way around. I do want it to really, really, really blend in. And you see I don't have as much of the black coming through because the black behind it is now very dry. So now I'm just picking up pure orange. Just happened. And I'm moving into lighter colors as I come in closer. On my brush, I'm going to give it a swirl around the outside edge here, because remember the sun's coming from behind. And while this is all still wet, I'm going to take my dry brush. So I could take any dry brush, but I'm going to go ahead and use my chip brush that I used yesterday. I'm going to drag some of this out. And in this case, I'm using number 8. This is actually one of my oil brushes, but I like it for this purpose because this is a more textured canvas. And I'm going to grab some purple. We're going to put some flash right here at this edge. What do we think about that? I might want a little bit more yellow in that. So a little yellow and white. And I'm just going to give us a give it some crosshatch there. Let it shine out. And that is right at the edge of our paper there that we're going to pull off. And just peel it off. Making it the moon. Getting it smeared around there. That way there's a little bit of texture on that moon. And there you have it. We have a beautiful rendition of our Eclipse.